Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. Pleased to be joined by Ben Hoyt, who is a student broadcaster at Penn State. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on, Casey. I'm really excited to get to talk to you today.
Okay, so why don't we just? I know we've done. If you're a long time watcher of the channel, you've probably have seen these. Did a couple of these 2 years ago, but figured we'd bring them back and see where it goes with this. So why don't we just start off with this? How did you get into broadcasting?
So it's actually kind of a funny story. My dad's not a broadcaster now,
Right.
but I actually watched one of his VHS tapes. He went to the University of Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And so he got to call games, only a couple though, at the Palestra, Franklin Field, like really historic venues. And he showed me those tapes. And I was like, well, I can do that. Like at the time, I loved playing sports. I loved playing basketball. I loved playing baseball, but I wasn't too good, right? I knew I wasn't going to make it pro. I knew I wasn't going to make it college. So it was another angle to sort of be in sports and do what I want to do, be in this field. And after watching the tapes, I went to a broadcasting camp and actually started the program at my local high school, and I did that for 4 years. And I decided I wanted to do it full time. So this is sort of where I am now at Penn State. This is, my seventh year of doing it, and I've been thrilled to do it. It really hasn't felt like work. It's just a really good time.
Yeah. So, got the start in high school. Like, what did you do? Did you just do PA or did you do like live stuff? What'd you do?
So I did a lot of broadcasting. So I did play by play, I did color. We did not have a program at the time. We had some adults that did football games and they did a football live stream. So I helped produce for those. So I made sure the score bug was running. I made sure to give the broadcasters notes, etc. But basketball, baseball, lacrosse, they didn't have anything. And parents and grandparents really wanted to see it and they wanted to see their kids play. So I said, hey, if you give me some money and resources and give me your patience and time, I think we can build something here. And so that's sort of what I did. I called over 150 games in 4 years for Garnet Valley High School. So that which is just outside of Philadelphia. And it was the greatest privilege of my life. I love that place. And because of the support I got at Garnet Valley High School, it made me want to continue, here at Penn State.
Right. So, you're a junior at Penn State.
Yep.
So, tell me what you do in the broadcasting world because I know you're pretty high up in at your station or whatever or your company or whatever.
Yeah, so I like to refer to myself as a Swiss Army knife because I do multiple different things here at Penn State. We have two student radio stations here. We have Penn State Com Radio and we also have WKPS, the Lion 90.7. At the Lion 90.7, where I'm actually at now in this office, I'm the assistant sports director. So I help the sports director, coordinate schedules, coordinate shows, make sure everything's really running smoothly, sending emails when need be. And then I also am the Penn State football insider for them as well. So I attend media availability every Wednesday, talk to James Franklin, talk to players, make sure those interviews are going smoothly for the station, do shows, talk about Penn State football on my Twitter. And then I broadcast for both stations. So I do play by play for any sport you can think of. I've done football, I've done basketball, I've done lacrosse, soccer, anything at Penn State. I'm pretty much doing. So I wear a lot of different hats here at Penn State, but again, it really doesn't feel like work. It's been a great time. It's been really rewarding for not only here at the Lion, but also at Com Radio as well.
So, what's your favorite sport to call?
My favorite sport to call is basketball, and there's a specific reason behind that. I come from a family of basketball coaches. My uncle was a high school coach for many years. I even saw him coach against Mike Gesicki, believe it or not, when I was a kid. So
Really?
that was a cool, yeah. Mike Gesicki played basketball, volleyball, and football. Football was not even his best sport. He was a terrific volleyball player in high school. He could have gone to the Olympics. But I saw my uncle coach against him. My dad had some experience in coaching as well as some of my other uncles. So I really learned the game and learned to love the game. Before Penn State, I went to University of Pennsylvania basketball games, UPenn, out of the Ivy League, because my dad was a graduate of there, had season tickets. So I'd be in the Palestra every Friday and Saturday and really fell in love with the game. So to get to call basketball, it just feels like my bread and butter, something I'm really comfortable with. And this past year, it really came full circle where I got to call Penn State basketball in the Palestra, my home, really. So that was such a cool experience. My dad got to be there watching it. My uncle came as well. So I love basketball because of the family ties to it, as well as, I'm just really comfortable and feel like an expert doing it.
So, when you talk about like calling all these different things and doing all these different sports, like, how much time do you have on just on top of being a normal everyday college student?
That's actually a great question because it's still something that really I'm trying to figure out because I want to balance broadcasting, which I'm really passionate about doing. It's not only my favorite hobby, but it's potentially going to be my career. I want to balance academics too, because in my family, the first rule is you got to get good grades. You got to go to class. You got to show up. So that is also important. So balancing academics as well as just balancing my social life. I've done an okay job of it over the last 3 years. I could definitely get better in some areas, but I think really the biggest key for me is I've paved time to make sure that I'm doing okay mentally, right? So I'm taking breaks. I'm making sure that I'm doing something I like, whether that be going to a friend's house, whether that be playing around a golf. I'm not over obsessed with this broadcasting thing to where it's driving me nuts. So I make sure to pave out sort of that time to be a regular college student, be a regular kid.
Mhm.
And that's really what's been allowing me not only to thrive in life, but really allowing me to thrive in my career as well, because I feel refreshed after that.
So, how much time do you spend like, getting ready for a game or something like that, or getting ready for preparation, all that fun stuff?
Yeah, it really depends on the game. Because as you know, TV is a lot different than radio. Radio, you gotta prepare a little bit differently than TV because TV, you're gonna have a producer in your ear and you're dealing with a sideline reporter, so you want to make sure you're not getting in the way of them because they do awesome work. I would say on an average game, I take about a week or two to prep, whether that be knowing the players, making sheets, making broadcast charts, making sure I get that down, practicing calls. That's something I do all the time. Like I'll sound crazy, but I'll even be in the shower, right? And I'm practicing calls for that game to make sure I get players' names down and I get certain terminology down. That'll take a week to do. And once I do that preparation after a week, I feel a lot more comfortable in the booth or press row or wherever I need to be.
Right. So, in terms of, just overall sports at Penn State, it's been pretty interesting.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, where do we start? I think, the first thing is my boss here at WKPS at the Lion, he also writes. So he's also a Swiss Army knife of a guy. He was the wrestling insider and they won the national championship. He was the volleyball insider. They won the national championship. And now he writes for hockey, who's in the Frozen Four. So he's been pretty lucky, but I think we've all been pretty lucky here at Penn State to cover all these teams and have that access because they don't have to. It's a privilege to do. So covering, I'll give you an example. I did the whiteout, quote energy game because we had two whiteouts this year, an unofficial whiteout against Illinois. Um, we have to give a lot of credit to the staff who makes that happen, whether that be the athletic department as well as the people that fill our credentials, accept those. It's been a real privilege for sure.
So, in terms of like, what do you still have left? Because you're still in spring sports, so I'm sure there's plenty of lacrosse and baseball and softball left to announce, and some other things too.
Yeah, you mentioned lacrosse too. They're going to be a top 10 team. They're always a Final Four contender under Coach Tambroni. So I did a lacrosse game earlier in the season. I think I'm done with that for the year. Um, I do have a lot of baseball on the docket. We have something at Penn State that I know a lot of other ballparks have, Dollar Dog Nights. But
Right.
it's special at Penn State because all the students will come out and the line for hot dogs, there's only two concession stands, will go from the third baseline all the way into left field, which is insane to look at. And I'll have two of those broadcasts, one against Delaware, the other against West Virginia.
Right.
And we're also very fortunate to have an MLB Draft League team here in State College. So we have a lot of access as students. We have a spot in the press box, and I'll be calling some MLB Draft League teams this summer, particularly for our State College Spikes. So I'm really excited to, break into that door of Major League Baseball and see what that's like, get some more baseball calling experience. And that's what's really on the docket for me this spring and summer.
I was just about to ask you like what's to come because that's usually all these students go and take all these broadcast opportunities and you never know where they're going to land.
No, and it's really hard for students to get those opportunities. Once you miss out on the Cape Cod and maybe the Northwoods, it's hard to break into those leagues because you're competing against every student broadcaster across the country, whether that be Syracuse kids or Arizona State kids. It's definitely harder for some Penn State kids to break through. I think I was fortunate this year to talk with Penn State because there really hasn't been coverage of the Spikes in the past. And I said, hey, there's a great opportunity here for our students to break in to the next level. MLB Draft League is no joke. It is affiliated with Major League Baseball, and you want to make sure you have that experience coming out of college. And they're like, knock yourselves out, like, go do it. And so part of what I've been doing this spring is coordinating with Penn State to make sure that's all good to go and making sure we have the kids to not only, broadcast, do play by play in color, but have producers and have people that are going to be here during the summer. And that's been a big thing for this spring as well.
Right. So I know you have a lot of goals.
Yep.
Senior year, I know you're gonna be doing a lot of things as you wrap up your junior year this year. What are your goals for next year? And then where do you see where do you want to what do you want to end up doing?
Wow, that's the question of the hour. And I've been really thinking about this because we are nearing the end of my junior year. I got, maybe a year and a half left at Penn State if I take an extra semester. I think my number one goal, and I think this translates to this year as well, is to be an STAA All-American. I think I've improved a lot over the last 2 years and have broadcasted a lot of quality games. And hopefully the STAA can see that. I did apply this year, so a little nervous, but I'm hoping for the best. And I think after senior year, I really don't know what I'm going to be doing. I think, like we mentioned earlier, I love basketball. That's my bread and butter. And I've been talking to some people who are in the NBA and talking about how to break through into that, whether that be the G League, whether that be college basketball or the league itself. But I don't know what's to come. Maybe I'll, do some stuff locally at home. There's a lot of possibilities in what I'm doing, and it's sort of up in the air right now. But whatever it is, I'm grateful for what it is. I know, that God has a path, and whatever that path is, I'm going to take it.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Ben, thanks so much for spending some time with us and best of luck the rest of this year, and we'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate it, Casey. Thanks for having me on.